What's up, all you nerds? My name's Leslie Smith. Welcome to the Nerdy Narrative. I like reading things, fantasy, sci-fi, horror, and manga, a little nonfiction. Oh, ring that bell, comment, like, subscribe. If you want to share it with your friends, that would be great. Hey! In today's episode of fun, we're going to talk about The Fires of Vengeance, Book 2 of The Burning by Evan Winter, the highly anticipated sequel to The Rage of Dragons. This book was phenomenal. Phenomenal. I enjoyed it. I actually binged it. If you missed it, me and a few other world hoppers did a video where we gushed over our love for The Rage of Dragons. I'll have that up in the cards. I'll have it linked in the description box down below. I just got so caught up in that discussion and my love for the book was just brought back to the surface. I had just received The Fires of Vengeance a couple of days prior, and I was one of two people who hadn't read the sequel yet that was part of that video. And so when I got done, I was looking at it, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to take the next 24 hours and I'm going to binge this book. And that is exactly what I did. And you know what? I couldn't have picked a better book to binge. It's written just so well. It's so fast paced. It just flowed. The story was fire. The momentum from the end of Rage of Dragons is picked up in chapter 1. It never slows down. It never stops. It just is carried through the entirety of the book, and I was living for it. And yes, I did choose to wear my Grinch shirt for this review because there are so many people that didn't like Rage of Dragons or just hated it. I just can't wrap my head around why so many people disliked that book. There were a few things that I wished had been done a little better, sure. I mean, it's the guy's first book. And in my opinion, that being his first book, the dude knocked a freaking home run just straight out the park. I know there was a lot of hype around Rage of Dragons, but I think people forget Evan Winter was an independent author. He self-published The Rage of Dragons, and then it just had such a huge following. It just blew up, and it got picked up by a bigger publisher who could give it more of a platform. Issues I have with Rage of Dragons. The prologue. The prologue was confusing. It made no sense. And in fact, I believe the prologue is why a lot of people didn't like Rage of Dragons. Because the prologue is very short and it has all this build up. And what did it do? It had dragons. And everybody was expecting dragons throughout the Rage of Dragons. And they didn't get enough. And so they were mad. Okay, but first of all, guys, the dragons were not creatures that were fun to be around. What do dragons do? What did they do in the prologue? They freaking wiped out insane numbers of people. They are death and destruction. They get to a point where they are uncontrollable. That's why they don't call them often. They ruin everything. They destroy everything. So, I mean, people that wanted dragons all over the place, well, I mean, hello, there would have been no freaking world for Evan to write about. All the characters would have been charbroiled. It would have been over. It wasn't, you know, this was a book. This was a story to progress through, not a barbecue. So, there was no prologue in Fires of Vengeance. Then, really, my only other issue was it was based around a matriarchal system, which is cool. I loved it. I love women in power. There was no question of it. It was just how it was. That was how they formed their caste system. In Rage of Dragons, those women really didn't have a voice. They just really weren't a part of the story except for Zuri, who I felt she was just used for exposition. It wasn't an issue with me, but a lot of people had issue with Tal being immature and making dumb choices over and over, and that the book was just filled with his training. Sequel, there is no prologue. The women have a huge role, which I absolutely lived for. And Tal, in my opinion, was not making tons of bad decisions. Instead, I saw him mature and learn to learn to trust and lean on and work with those that are around him. We spent so much more time with the secondary characters in this one. Evan Winter really took his time to develop and include those characters, and I felt it was just very well done. It just really added to the story and had me even more invested. We had a ton of the female characters included. They were just so powerfully written. They were female, but they were respected, they were intelligent, they just really shone in this story. There was not massive amounts of training. There was a little tiny bit. Like compared to Rage of Dragons, it could be almost it could almost be non-existent, really. And in Fires of Vengeance, we get some world building, we get some history, we learn how the caste system began, how it was formed, and we get some more explanation around that. Guys, seriously, this book is worth reading. If you didn't like Rage of Dragons, or you thought it was just okay, but you're not sure if you should continue, the Fires of Vengeance is worth it. It is definitely worth it. I mean, personally, Rage of Dragons was one of my favorite reads of the year. Fires of Vengeance definitely surpasses that and continues and just builds the story to a fascinating crescendo. I cannot wait for the next book. So let's talk about the plot for a minute. So for those of you who read Rage of Dragons, Fires of Vengeance picks right up from where it ends. The Zidane have issued an ultimatum to Queen Sayora and the Omihi. And then to make matters worse, on top of having to deal with what they're gonna do regarding the Zidane, Queen Sayora's twin sister has decided, oh, hey girl, you're not the true queen, I am. So she's taking a stand, and she has got some nobles on her side saying she is the true and rightful queen. She's also taken over the capital city. So Queen Sayora and Tao come together and they're like, all right, here's what we're gonna have to do. We can't beat the Zidane with the nobles just split all over the place. So their plan of attack is they're gonna travel around, visit all the nobles, get the allegiance reestablished, pick up warriors, head over to the capital city real quick, take care of that house cleaning, and then hopefully be united and ready to face the Zidane when the time comes. I mean, what could go wrong here? You know, it should be fine, right? Oh man. And I know that sounds like a simple plot, but you know, nothing ever is that simple. You have people involved with free will. You have people that have been lied to. You've got people who have been bought. You have so much intrigue and just trying to figure out the best course of action to get all of the pieces in place, get a united front, regain control of the capital city, somehow be ready for the threat against the indigenous people whose land that they pretty much took. I mean, guys, my heart is racing just thinking about it all over again. I could legit sit down and reread The Rage of Dragons and Fires of Vengeance right here, right now. If I wasn't involved in a competitive readathon with the Shelf Space group, I probably would. I mean, it's that interesting. It's just that good. As they're traveling around, speaking to the different nobles, we get a little more world building in. We get a better feel of the lay of the land that they're populating. Winter just writes in a way. I was picturing all of the scenes playing out in my mind's eye. There is more character development in this book. You know, being a character-driven reader, the development that these characters undergo in this book is a work of art. I just couldn't read the words fast enough. There are so many memorable, just hard-hitting quotes. You know, quotes that are just worthy to come from the mouth of Kaladin Stormblessed himself. Guys, seriously, you need to give this book a chance. This book has none of the things in it that I heard complained about over and over from Rage of Dragons. And then Evan Winter just found a really unique way to incorporate Tao learning about the history of the Omihi people and how the caste system was formed. And it's tragic. I mean, I would read a book simply on how of the history of the Omihi and their caste system was formed. It was that interesting. I hope we continue to learn more about it. I feel like that was just a great storyline that he incorporated, and it definitely has room to be expounded upon in the next one. Fires of Vengeance just has so many elements that were introduced or developed in such a way that just had me so invested in the story. I cannot wait to see where it goes. I implore any of you who gave Rage of Dragons a chance, if you didn't like it or you just thought it was okay, please consider giving Fires of Vengeance a chance. Rent it from your library, get it for free. Don't spend your own money on it, but please read this book. Go to Goodreads, read other reviews by people who are better at it than me. Check out some other booktubers who reviewed it. I know Alex Nieves did. I will drop his link down below. I know World Hoppers, we're gonna have a live stream talking about it soon. As soon as I know when that may happen, I will definitely make sure you guys know. Please, please read this book. If you have read this book, hit me up in the comments below. Tell me what you thought about it. Please keep it spoiler free. If you want to talk spoiler talk, there's a link to my Discord down below where you can find me there. I hope I did this book justice. I hope you guys are willing to pick it up. But above all, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed hearing my thoughts and opinions. I hope your morning has gotten off to a great start. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll see you soon.